Hey, do you remember Blip TV? No? Well, don't worry, nor does anyone else, but I posted my first video 10 years ago today on Blip TV, so let's do some video advice. And also mildly to moderately embarrassing clips of me doing my thing for the past decade, because some people are just born talented and they only get better, and for the rest of us, it's all about the skill acquisition. Or at least enough charm that people are willing to forgive the fact that you can't really frame a shot for the first 6 years. I'm Jill Barrett. These days I make videos about fights in media based on my experience as a student of stage combat, which is to say the process of faking a fight for dramatic purposes. This time last year I had roughly 23,000 subscribers and I thought I was doing pretty well for myself actually, and that was just after I started making fight related videos. 1 year on and I have about 10 times that and a silver play button, and people call me Sword Lady. I mean, 2020 has been a year for everyone, but it's been a year. So when well-meaning YouTube people tell you that you need to define your niche in order to really experience growth on YouTube, yeah, that can often work pretty well. So back in the day, I started with a series called Stuff You Like, which was all about my favorite things in media and why you should like them too. Positivity, joy, nerdiness, a terrible webcam, which I then soon replaced with an almost as terrible digital camera, but never mind. A question that often comes up is, how do you stay motivated in the face of not very much feedback at all, often for a very long period of time? Ready for really obvious tip number one? Make stuff you actually want to make. Don't burn out on making stuff that you're not even getting paid for. Make the things which get you excited about scripting or editing or thumbnail making. I hate thumbnail making, but that's not the point. It's really important. Positive feedback from external sources is great, but when you start out on YouTube, probably you're not going to get a lot of that. So you're going to need the internal motivation, which means you actually need to be excited about talking about the thing, even if not many people, or indeed any people, want to talk about it with you. Especially when you're just starting out, YouTube doesn't know who your audience is yet. So it can't push your videos out to them and see if they like them because it doesn't really know enough to get the algorithm working in your favor. So tip 2 is enjoy the process for as long as you stick with it, because for most people, the process, bluntly, is all you're ever gonna get. I mean, I'm sitting here telling you this from the other side of 100,000 subscribers, but that happened 9.5 years after I started making videos. 9.5 years, just saying. And for a lot of people, that giant spike doesn't come. Thing is, if that giant spike hadn't come, while I probably wouldn't be doing this full time, I still would be making videos because I still enjoy doing it. It is legitimately the best job I've ever had by a very long way, and I am grateful for it every day. Make things for the joy of making them. Especially when you're starting out, don't force yourself to make things that you hate just to get views. But do keep in mind what audiences are more likely to be interested in. Because 3, they need to watch before they can care. My first video was about the Reichsbohr novel Grand Central Arena, which is part of the Arenaverse series. If you've read any of the Arenaverse series, please do leave a comment because I love it and not enough people have. If you're looking for book recommendations, by the way, I do recommend it, especially if you're into basically pulp sci-fi with a kind of anime flavor. Everything you do, if you're willing to learn from it, is experience in terms of scripting and editing and presenting and all of those things. Still in all, probably not the best topic for a brand new content creator. Why? Because very few people had heard of the book, which is why I wanted people to know about it. And nobody had heard of me, and so nobody had any reason to care. Like, who even are you? Also in the vein of they need to watch before they can care, titles and thumbnails are how you get them to start watching in the first place. And if you can't get people to start watching in the first place, then you're kind of sunk. There are at least 1,100 videos on YouTube about titles and how to make thumbnails that stand out. Watch them, apply them, love them, learn to tolerate thumbnail making. It is very important. Sorry. 4. Deliberate practice beats everything. Don't be like me if you want to grow your channel quickly. Apply the deliberate practice beats everything approach to all facets of your video making experience, not just the ones that you like the best. Trying to improve at least one thing a little bit every time means that over time you will get better. To be fair to past Jill, I shot my first video on a webcam and then I reshot it when I realized that my digital camera actually had a video function. The quality wasn't much better, but it was a bit better, and a bit better every time is really all you can ask for. 5. Don't get too in-joke happy. Look, I love in-jokes as much as the next person, but too many of them will stop people from feeling like they belong when they get to you, especially if you're just starting out. In-jokes are fine, just don't let them take up too much of your runtime, okay? Speaking of runtime, while my first few videos were very kind of trope heavy because I hadn't really nailed what the style of my videos was going to be yet, they did at least have one thing going for them, in that they were short. 6. be concise. In the year of our Lord 2021, with shorts and TikTok and people's general attention spans, being concise is more important than ever. Especially if people don't know who you are. If you're watching this video and you don't know who I am, hopefully I've given you some useful advice so far. But if you do know who I am, then you're happy to click on a video which is however many minutes long this video is, I have no idea. Different genres have different time requirements, but in general, edit. Edit mercilessly. Kill your babies. Kill your digressions or make them relevant. Cut, cut, and then cut again. Think of someone watching your YouTube video as like someone who is agreeing to go on a date with you. Not only do you have to bring your A game, you also ideally have to leave them wanting more. Starting with the kind of R+ videos that people with gold play buttons like to make is maybe not the best idea if you're trying to grow your audience because, well, those people have a rapport with their audience. They are already in a relationship, so to speak. But your potential audience is speed dating you. Get them to click, provide them with some value, whether that's entertainment or education or a useful trick or just making them laugh, whatever. Get out. Maybe they will be intrigued. Maybe they will say, oh, I want more from this person. Maybe I will go to their channel and maybe I'll subscribe and maybe I'll click next time. That's basically all you want. That you find the kind of people who see your content and are like, yeah, where has this been all my life? And when you've got going a little bit and you've made a few videos and you're kind of getting into a rhythm and maybe a few people are even watching your videos, if you discover that something does better than other things, double down on that. Try making more of that kind of thing for a little bit and see what it does for you. I started to get a little bit of traction on video 6, and by a little bit of traction I mean like maybe 100 views, when I started talking about BBC Sherlock. It was current, I really liked it, there were a bunch of LiveJournal communities that I could share my video in. Is LiveJournal still around? I mixed in talking about other topics which I find interesting because, again, you don't want to burn yourself out on something that you are doing as a hobby. You don't have to reshape your channel around it, you don't have to be beholden to making videos on one single topic forever, but when you find something that's working, go with that for a bit. And when you get bored, experiment for a video or two. My 10th video was a musical episode. Yes, really. Seemed like it might be fun, tried it, worked okay, but was such a huge amount of work I decided to reserve it for special occasions. Great. We all learned something. Learn from your experiments. I learned from mine, mostly, a bit, sort of, you know. The series on Sherlock characters having gone well, I did a series about Firefly characters, I did one on the characters in the Avengers, on Doctor Who, on Harry Potter, on Star Wars. I kind of hit all of the big things that I was interested in that I also knew a lot of other people were interested in. And I also made the videos that were a bit more niche, like the Arenaverse. So this is episode 81 of Stuff You Like, which was a review of the second book in the Arenaverse series, which is called Spheres of Influence. Still not very good at framing a shot, granted, but I did have a new camcorder. I had something that resembled a kind of nice backdrop. I had reasonably early on actually bought a tripod for about a tenner as opposed to balancing my camera on a stack of textbooks which were on top of an ironing board, and I'd made it into 16:9 instead of 4:3. By the time episode 81 rolled around, I'd also got an actual microphone, which I still have and use right now, actually. It was a very good microphone. I like it very much. Highly recommend it, especially if you're filming from your smartphone, by the way. Like tip 9, if you have a little bit of money to throw at your new pastime, sound. Get a microphone that will plug into your smartphone or your camera or whatever it is that you're using. Okay sound is okay. Bad sound will make people shut the video off. I seem to recall making a video quite early on which I had to replace, which was something that you could do on Blip, because you could only listen to it if you had your headphones in. Like if you tried to listen to it through, say, laptop speakers, just no sound came out. And through all of this, be ready to adapt. Adapt to the limitations of the equipment that you have, adapt to the strengths of the new equipment that you get, adapt when it turns out that your video platform is going away and now you're on YouTube. Blip was supposed to be an alternative for YouTube that was focused on series, like serial content as opposed to random cat videos. And it did fine for a while. And it got bought out by Maker, and then Maker got bought out by Disney, and I was paid by the Disney Corporation for a while, so I would like to stake my claim as a Disney princess. And then, at some point, Maker just shut it down, and so there I was on YouTube. Happy 2015 to you too. What do you do in those situations? Adapt, or meh. It's not like adapt or die, although your channel might start performing badly, but YouTube changes all the time, and you have to be ready to at least change a little bit with it. Sometimes it will even change in ways which are preferable to you. Sounds ridiculous, but it does sometimes happen. Right now in 2021, YouTube Shorts is YouTube's current baby. It loves them, it pushes them to as many people as possible, and Shorts are fun. They're short-form vertical video, which is a whole new set of challenges for someone who's used to making long-form horizontal content. If you want to have longevity on a platform which will change under you for no particular reason, then you have to be willing to adapt. Strikes me we're up to 10 things already and I'm nowhere near done. Okay, let's keep going. 11 is network, by which I mean make friends. I did this by going to VidCons, and at one particular VidCon Europe, anyone remember VidCon Europe? I went and talked to one of the keynote speakers after all of the talks had finished, and we had a very nice chat about how much I liked his talk, which was about niches. He gave me some very good advice about changing all of the old auto-generated thumbnails on my old YouTube videos and just swapping them out for some kind of, you know, newer, nicer looking thumbnail that I'd made myself. And so I went home from VidCon Europe and I did that, and I emailed him to tell him that I'd done that. And then I met him at the next VidCon, I guess it was VidCon London, and I was like, okay, you know, I've met you twice, we're friends now. Basically how I make friends as an adult, don't judge me. Networking, yay! It was that person who would eventually introduce me to the head of the agency which I ended up signing up with. So, like, yeah. Networking! But even if that had never happened, we would still be friends because that is just how I make friends as an adult. If you can go to things like VidCon, amazing. If you can't, but you can go to things which are related to the videos you make, but not directly about video making, great. Those are good too. This is basically what networking is. Being nice and making friends who also like the things that you like. Maybe in the future you can help them with something. Maybe in the future they can help you with something. Maybe they won't. It doesn't matter, make friends. Like, you're not there to exploit them, right? And I hope that they are not there to exploit you, though you should be careful about that sort of thing because, you know, bad people exist. So don't get suckered into things which are unsavory, but, you know, go, make friends. Just make them in public places. Tip 12, before you go, make the video. This applies specifically to when you're networking. If you go to a convention or to VidCon or something like that and you say that you make videos, it is much better if you've actually at least made one video that you can say, look, this is my YouTube channel and this is my first video that I made about blah, and my next video I'm planning to make about blah. It's fine to be a person at VidCon who wants to start a channel and is looking for ideas but hasn't actually made any videos yet. The thing is, there are lots and lots and lots of people who want to start a channel but haven't made any videos yet. Actually making a video, however crappy it is, gives you some common ground with the people whose experience and knowledge you would like to acquire. Don't analysis paralysis yourself. Make literally anything. The level of advice that people will give you depends on the level that you are at. The more videos you have made, the more information you have as your baseline so people can add to it, and also the more information people have about you to help you make your videos better. And the point that something beats nothing leads into this one. Sometimes serendipity happens. At the end of 2017, we thought, we're gonna do something nice, let's go to the cinema. So we went to the cinema and we watched The Last Jedi, and I absolutely fell in love with the throne room scene. I was like, man, that looks like so much fun. There must be a way that you can learn to do that. Like, pretend to fight with lightsabers and stuff. That just looks amazing. Okay. Which is how I ended up taking a stage combat course and had so much fun with it, and it was my new obsession and I loved it, and I made a video about it, and then I just went back to making my regular kind of media analysis stuff. So time goes on, and I've now been doing stage combat for about 18 months. And I've been discussing the video which I was supposed to be making with my friend who I'd met at VidCon Europe like 3 years previously. And one random Tuesday morning, I'm sitting in work and my phone starts going bing, 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 till I kind of fell down a HEMA rabbit hole, and they were making videos about The Witcher, and I thought, you would have some interesting opinions on that because you actually know things about making stuff for the stage, for fiction, as opposed to for historical realism. And there it was. Sometimes serendipity happens. So there I am with 9 years of scripting and editing under my belt, with a topic selection which is interesting to people, Star Wars, with a twist on this topic which you don't hear very often, what do the lightsaber fights tell us about the people involved, and with the additional temporary added advantage of someone who was willing to read my draft script and look at my draft thumbnail and shoot down all of my proposed titles because I'm terrible at writing titles. You should write your title and then build your script around that. And you can generally tell when I've actually done that and when I haven't. Do as I say, kids, not as I do. Okay, so I made this video and I was so excited about it, and I made the thumbnail and everything, and I thought it was so much better than the things I'd been putting out recently, and I put it out on the internet and It did fine. It didn't do significantly better than my videos had been performing, but it did fine. People seemed to like it, but I enjoyed it. I was like, I can do this. And my friend, who I've learned to trust in these matters, said, no, listen to me. If you're making 2 videos a month, I don't know if you'll have to make them for 3 months or 6 months or a year or 2 years, but this is good. This is the kind of thing that will blow up. Trust me. And I did. And I said, well, even if it doesn't blow up right away, I'm really excited about making videos again. And this is good. This is positive. So a few months and joining an agency because networking and VidCon later, I made a video for the One Excellent Scene playlist and my views went boop. A couple of weeks later, Cinema Wins mentioned my Pirates of the Caribbean video in his Pirates of the Caribbean video and my views went boop. A couple of weeks after that, I put up my How to Hide a Sword in Your Dress video, and YouTube in its infinite wisdom decided that absolutely everybody on the planet needed to see this and my views went whoosh. And then at the beginning of September, I put up my Princess Bride video and got a second, more minor whoosh. And then there I was in October at 100,000 subscribers, and you can be forgiven for just sitting there going like, wait, what just happened? Because that was basically what I did. Momentum is what happened. People saw a thing that they liked, and they thought, I like this. I will go and see if there are other things related to this on this woman's channel. And then there were. Only about maybe half a dozen, but there were, and they were pretty substantial things, so they subscribe and they stick around. And then if they were really enthusiastic, there were 9+ years of videos on other topics, which they could also get into, and yep, you can't plan for that. You can't control it. All you can do is set up the circumstances under which it can happen and then hope for the best. So you put out consistent content about whatever it is and you keep getting better and better and you try new things which are related and you make sure that when people come to your channel they know what the channel is about and you have your channel trailer and all of that kind of thing. But you can't make luck happen. All you can do is set up the conditions where luck will take you as far as possible. It's also very random and you're never gonna know when it happens. But if it does, enjoy the momentum, but know that it does not last. If the massive spike happens to you, celebrate. It's wonderful, it's awesome, maybe you even get paid. Your comments section may suffer, but you know, that's what the blocked words list is for. Ride the wave of the YouTube algorithm for as long as it will let you. When it breaks, and it will, don't freak out, don't get depressed or anxious or try and do something crazy to try and get the momentum back. Just take a breath and keep doing what you're doing. You compete against yourself, and of all of the mental tips, this one is probably the most important. You can't control other people's behavior. You can't control how many people watch your video. You can try and influence them to watch your video by choosing a really good title and having a really good thumbnail and having an excellent hook at the beginning of the video and a good structure which keeps people around, but you can't make anyone watch your video. It is better to think of the people who make videos like yours as potential colleagues, not as competitors. Whatever vidIQ calls them. Don't compete against other people in terms of views, subscribers, watch time, whatever. Here is a video of me reviewing Grand Central Arena in 2011. The video introduces the characters, explains the bare bones of the plot, lists a bunch of tropes, and then tells you to read the book. Here is me reviewing Spheres of Influence, the second book in the series, in 2014. Better camera, better sound, framing still kind of sucks, but there's much more ease on camera. 2017 I reviewed the third book in the series, and you can see I've got a green screen, and probably by this point, this current camera that I'm using. And things just look pretty nice, actually. Framing's better as well. And you can also see that I am entirely and completely relaxed, even though I am also horribly sleep deprived. And it is not beyond the bounds of possibility that there is a baby sleeping in my lap. Oh hey, it's 2021. The fourth book in the series, Shadows of Hyperion, is coming out. This is not a sponsored video, but I have read the arc and it is exactly the kind of fast-paced pulp sci-fi insanity that I enjoy, so if you're into that, you might like it too. Having done that whistle-stop tour of the past 10 years, I feel like we've come full circle. I got asked recently, what would you have done differently? And the thing is, that's not really a helpful question for other people looking for advice, because a lot of the things which I did were specific to someone who started on Blip. Like, I would have tried to develop my YouTube audience earlier. I would have taken advantage of the blocked words list much sooner. I probably wouldn't have turned off my comments for like 2 years because I couldn't be bothered. Incidentally, the blocked words list is amazing. It won't catch all of the mean comments, like mean comments just happen, meh, but it does tend to slow people down. Also, you can mute the people who call each other names in the comment section because personal attacks are contrary to the spirit of this channel. You probably shouldn't do what I did, because that was the long way and the slow way and the inefficient way, and while I had a tremendous time doing it, if I'd had someone to give me advice earlier, I probably would have done better. I don't regret how long it took. Especially because I'm much more sanguine about people who try and come and troll in my comment section these days. Like, when I was 24, people saying mean things was really hurtful to me, and now that I'm 34, I'm like, meh. If you've made it to the end of the video and you've taken some notes and you're like, okay, but what do I do now? Just start. Make those crummy videos, and then make slightly better ones. And repeat. For maximum efficiency, write the best title you can think of and then script around that and not the other way around. And if you want to play a fun game, go back through like my last 20 videos, just read the titles and then figure out how many of them I wrote the title first and then wrote the script, and how many of them I wrote a script and then was like, oh, what am I gonna call it? When you're making thumbnails, make them as easy to understand as possible, even at minuscule sizes. There's a thing called thumbsup.tv, which is amazing and lets you see things at all different sizes. You should definitely use it. It's free. Try making shorts. I mean, why not? YouTube is pushing them ridiculously at the minute. If you get some momentum, enjoy it, ride the wave, but don't crash when the wave does, because that your self-worth should not relate to how many YouTube views you have.